I had been dating Lily for about 3 months when she told me about her ex. At first, she didn't say much, just that it had been a messy breakup, that he hadn't taken it well, that he didn't want to let go. I didn't push for details. We were still getting to know each other, and I figured she'd open up when she was ready. But as Valentine's Day got closer, she started acting different. More jumpy, more distracted. One night, as we sat on my couch watching a movie, she checked her phone, and I noticed her hand was shaking. "What's wrong?" I asked. She hesitated, then handed me her phone. It was a text from an unknown number. "You're still mine. You know that, right?" I felt my stomach drop. She didn't have to tell me who it was. Her ex. The next day, she told me everything. His name was Daniel. They had dated for almost a year before she broke things off. At first, he had begged her to take him back. Then came the anger, the late-night calls, the showing up at her house uninvited. She blocked his number. He used a new one. She changed her locks. He left flowers on her doorstep. It had been months since she last heard from him. She thought it was finally over. But now, right before Valentine's Day, he was back. I did my best to comfort her, to assure her that I wouldn't let him do anything to her. But I won't lie. A part of me felt uneasy, like something was about to happen. And I was right. The texts kept coming. Every day. Each one worse than the last. "I know where you are. He won't protect you. You were always mine." Lily stopped responding. She wanted to go to the police, but what could she say? He hadn't threatened her directly, hadn't done anything illegal. Yet, then, the night before Valentine's, she got a new message. This one was different. A photo. I felt the air leave my lungs when I saw it. It was taken outside my apartment, through my window. He had been here, watching us. I locked every door, every window. I told Lily to stay with me that night. I wasn't going to let her be alone. We were on edge the whole evening. Every sound made us jump, but nothing happened. No knocks on the door, no movement outside. By midnight, we finally started to relax. Maybe he was just trying to scare us. Maybe he had already given up. I couldn't have been more wrong, because just as Lily started drifting off to sleep, there was a noise outside. Not a knock, not footsteps, something scraping, like nails against glass. I turned toward the window, and I saw him, standing just outside the glass, watching, smiling, and in his hand, he was holding a knife. I didn't move, couldn't move. Lily was still half asleep beside me, unaware of what was standing just beyond the glass. Her ex, Daniel. His face was too calm, not angry, not desperate, just waiting. He stood there, his breath fogging up the window, the knife glinting under the dim streetlight outside. For a moment, I thought maybe I was dreaming, that my mind was playing tricks on me. Then, he knocked. Soft, rhythmic, too slow. Lily shifted beside me, letting out a sleepy sigh. She hadn't heard him, didn't know he was here. My pulse hammered against my ribs. Slowly, carefully, I reached for my phone, but before I could unlock it, another knock, louder this time, deliberate. Lily stirred, her eyes fluttering open. She frowned, shifting beneath the blankets. "What's wrong?" she murmured. I didn't answer, couldn't, because in the corner of my eye, Daniel's expression changed. His head tilted slightly, his lips stretched into something that wasn't quite a smile, wasn't quite a sneer. He lifted the knife, pressing the tip against the window, and dragged it downward. A long, slow scrape. The sound made my stomach twist. Lily must have noticed the way I tensed, because she pushed herself up, rubbing her eyes. And then she saw him. Her entire body locked up. I felt her breath catch. Then, she screamed. Daniel's grin widened. I lunged for my phone, my hands shaking as I dialed 911. Lily scrambled off the bed, backing away toward the door. I could hear the panic in her voice, her ragged breathing. He's. "I know," I muttered, pressing the phone to my ear. "I know." Ring, ring. Come on, come on. But Daniel didn't wait. The second Lily's scream died down, he took a step back, then another, and then he turned and walked away. Just like that. I ran to the window, watching as he disappeared down the street, his silhouette fading into the dark. I wanted to chase him, wanted to stop him, but something held me back. Some deep, primal instinct telling me that if I stepped outside, if I followed, I wouldn't come back. The operator finally picked up, but by the time the police arrived, Daniel was gone. Lily didn't stay at my apartment after that. She went straight to a friend's place, too shaken to even think about being alone. The police took our statements, but without proof of a break-in or a direct threat. They said there wasn't much they could do. "We'll put extra patrols in the area," one of the officers told me. "But if he tries to contact either of you again, call us immediately." That was it. No protection. No answers. Just wait and see. And so, I waited. And I saw. For the next 2 nights, nothing happened. No messages. No signs of him. Lily barely spoke. She was terrified, jumping at every sound, barely able to sleep. I told her to stay at her friend's place as long as she needed. I'd handle things here. But on the 3rd night, I woke up to something strange. My bedroom door was open. I never leave it open. I sat up slowly, my body tense. The apartment was silent. Nothing out of place. No signs of a break-in. But something felt off. The air was wrong. Heavy. Like I wasn't alone. I grabbed my phone, heart pounding as I checked my messages. Nothing. Then, just as I was about to put it down, a new message. From an unknown number. I stared at it, my breath catching in my throat. It wasn't a threat. It wasn't a demand. Just a single word. Mine. A photo followed. I almost didn't look. Almost couldn't. But I did. And when I saw what it was, I felt my stomach drop. A picture of Lily. Asleep. At her friend's apartment. The timestamp? 2 minutes ago. I shot out of bed. Dialed her number with shaking hands. It rang once. Twice. Then, hello? Her voice was groggy. Half asleep. "Lily, lock the doors," I gasped. "Now." Silence. Then a shuffling sound. A light switch clicking on. What's going on? I didn't even know how to answer. Because he had been there. At her window. Watching her. Taking photos. 2 minutes ago. I grabbed my keys and ran to my car, heart pounding against my ribs. I drove faster than I ever have in my life. Running every red light, gripping the wheel so hard my knuckles turned white. Lily's friend lived across town. I shouldn't have made it there in 10 minutes, but I did. When I pulled up to the house, my stomach twisted into knots. Because something was wrong. All the lights were on. The front door was wide open. I ran inside, calling her name. No answer. No one was there. The bed was unmade. The window was open. And on the pillow, a single red envelope. I walked toward it, legs shaking, every nerve in my body screaming at me to run. I picked it up. I already knew what it would say, but I looked anyway. Mine. And underneath it, a single line. "Happy Valentine's Day." They never found her. No forced entry. No signs of struggle. It was like she had just vanished. The police did everything they could. Searched the entire city, followed every lead. But she was gone. And Daniel? Never seen again. No more texts. No more pictures. Nothing. Just emptiness. I moved. Changed my number. Tried to start over. But every year, on Valentine's Day, I get one message. From a blocked number. Just one word. Mine. And every year, I wonder if she's still out there. Somewhere. Waiting. Or if she's already his. Forever. I was never a big fan of Valentine's Day. Maybe it was because I had been single for too long. Maybe it was because every couple I knew seemed miserable the rest of the year, only pretending to be happy when February 14th rolled around. Either way, I didn't plan to celebrate. But then, out of nowhere, I got a message. "Hey, it's been a while. Want to catch up?" It was from Anna, my ex. We hadn't talked in over a year. I just stared at the message, my stomach twisting into knots. I had loved her, really loved her. But she was the one who ended things. She was the one who had disappeared without an explanation. And now she wanted to meet up? I should have said no. I should have ignored it. But I didn't. I told her yes. We agreed to meet at a small cafe downtown. The same one where we had our first date. When I got there, She was already waiting at a corner table, her hands wrapped around a cup of coffee. She looked the same. Same brown eyes, same soft smile, same way she tucked her hair behind her ear when she was nervous. For a moment, it felt like no time had passed at all. But as I sat down across from her, something felt off. Not wrong, not scary, just off. She was too quiet, too still, like she was forcing herself to act normal. I didn't think I'd hear from you again, I admitted. She gave me a small smile. I wasn't sure if I should reach out, but I kept thinking about you. Something about the way she said it sent a chill through me. She stirred her coffee, her eyes flickering toward the window. Do you ever feel like you made a mistake? I swallowed. With us? She nodded. I let out a breath, suddenly feeling like I was walking into dangerous territory. I don't know. You were the one who left. Her fingers tightened around the spoon. I didn't want to, she whispered. The way she said it, so soft, so broken, made my heart ache. Then why did you? I asked. She didn't answer. Not at first. Instead, she reached into her bag and pulled out a small red envelope. My stomach twisted. I didn't know why, but I suddenly felt cold. She slid the envelope across the table. This is why, she said. I hesitated before picking it up. It wasn't sealed. Just a simple, folded card inside. I opened it, and my breath caught in my throat, because inside was a photo of her, taken at night, standing outside my apartment. From last night. I looked up, my pulse hammering. What the hell is this? Anna's face was pale. I didn't take that. I stared at her. Then who did? She slowly shook her head. Then, almost too softly to hear, she whispered, I think someone is following me. Anna's words sent a chill through me. I think someone is following me. I stared at the photo in my hands. My apartment, late at night, Anna standing outside. And the worst part? She looked like she was staring at something behind the camera, like she wasn't alone. I swallowed hard. Anna, I said carefully, I don't understand. Who took this? She let out a shaky breath. I don't know. Her hands were gripping the edge of the table, so tightly her knuckles had gone white. I got the envelope last night, she whispered. It was waiting for me when I got home. No name, no explanation, just the photo. I felt something twist deep in my stomach. This was outside my apartment, I said. You were there? Anna's eyes flickered down to the table. I didn't mean to be. Anna. My voice was sharper than I intended, but my nerves were fraying fast. She exhaled slowly, then finally met my eyes. I was walking home from work, she said, her voice barely above a whisper. I wasn't thinking. I just ended up there. At your street. I don't know why. She swallowed. I wasn't going to knock. I was just standing there, trying to convince myself to leave, when I felt it. My pulse hammered in my ears. Felt what? I asked. Her hands trembled, like someone was watching me. She shivered, rubbing her arms as if remembering the sensation. I thought it was just my imagination, but then I heard something. She looked down at the photo, her eyes dark with something close to fear. The sound of a camera clicking. A chill spread through my chest. Anna's voice shook. I turned around, but there was no one there. The cafe suddenly felt too quiet, too warm. My mind was racing. I wanted to tell her she was being paranoid, that it was just a prank. But something about the photo, the way she looked scared, the way she was caught mid-turn like she just heard something, made my stomach churn. And then I thought about the envelope. How had it gotten to her apartment? Who left it there? And how did they know who she was? Anna took a deep breath. That's why I reached out, she murmured. Because if someone is following me, if they're watching me, her eyes locked onto mine, then maybe they're watching you too. For the next few days, I couldn't shake the feeling that she was right. I found myself checking my phone constantly, glancing over my shoulder when I walked to my car. At first, nothing happened. No texts, no notes, no signs that anything was wrong. Then, on February 13th, I got a red envelope in my mailbox. No name, no return address. The moment I saw it, my breath caught in my throat. I already knew what was inside. Hands shaking, I ripped it open. and when I saw what was inside, I felt the air leave my lungs. A photo, taken from inside my apartment. While I was sleeping, I barely remember grabbing my phone. My hands were shaking so hard I could barely type. I called Anna. She picked up on the first ring. "Did you?" "I got one," I choked out. Silence. Then, in a small voice, "A photo?" I swallowed hard. "Anna, where are you?" "My place." Her voice was barely above a whisper. "Check your door." I heard shuffling, the creak of a wooden floor. Then, a sharp inhale. "Oh my God," she whispered. "What?" I demanded. I could hear her breathing getting faster. There's a red envelope," she stammered. It's taped to my door." I was already grabbing my keys. "Don't open it," I said, but I was too late. The line went dead. I broke every traffic law getting to her apartment. When I got there, the front door was wide open. "Anna?" I called, stepping inside. Silence. The apartment was empty. I took a shaky step forward, and that's when I saw it. A red envelope, sitting on the kitchen counter. Next to it, Anna's phone, still on, still open to a text message. I picked it up with trembling hands. There was only one text, from an unknown number. A photo. I forced myself to look. It was Anna, but not here. Not in her apartment. Somewhere else. A dark room, the floor concrete, the walls bare. She was sitting in a chair, facing the camera. Her head was tilted slightly, her hair covering part of her face. But what made my blood run cold was the hand resting on her shoulder. A pale, slender hand, with fingers too long. And underneath the photo, a message. "Almost time." I staggered backward, my breath coming in short, panicked gasps. Anna was gone, taken, and I had no idea where she was. I called the police, told them everything, showed them the texts, the photos. They searched everywhere. No leads, no signs of a break-in. It was like she had just vanished. And then, on February 14th, I got another envelope. This one wasn't left in my mailbox. It was on my pillow. I almost couldn't bring myself to open it, but I did. And inside, another photo, not of Anna, of me, taken from the closet, while I was sleeping. I don't know who took her. I don't know who's watching me. But every year, on Valentine's Day, I get another envelope. Another photo, a little closer, a little clearer. Like whoever is taking them is getting bolder. Like they're waiting for something. And I know that one day, I'll wake up, and there won't be a photo. There will just be a hand, resting on my shoulder, waiting. I never should have gone on that date. I wasn't even planning to. I had never cared much about Valentine's Day, and after my last breakup, I wasn't exactly in the mood to pretend I was ready to start over. But my friends wouldn't let it go. "You've been alone too long. Come on, it's just one date. Worst case, it's awkward, and you never see her again." I should have said no, but I didn't. Her name was Claire. She was pretty in a quiet, effortless way. Long black hair, pale blue eyes, a small beauty mark near the corner of her lips. She had a kind of self-assurance that made it feel like she already knew me. Our mutual friend, Jason, set us up. He swore we'd hit it off instantly. And honestly, he wasn't wrong. The conversation flowed. Claire was charming without trying too hard, flirty without being obvious. She asked me all the right questions. She liked all the same things I did. Too much, actually. I don't know when it started to feel off, but by the time dinner was halfway over, I couldn't shake the feeling that something wasn't right. The way she knew things she shouldn't have. The way she never broke eye contact. The way she smiled at me before I said something, like she already knew what I was about to say. It was subtle, but I could feel it. Something was wrong. Then, toward the end of the night, she leaned in slightly, resting her chin on her hand. "So, do you believe in fate?" The same first question my ex had asked me on our first date. I forced a laugh. "That's a weird way to start a conversation." She smiled. "Not really. Some people are just meant to meet. Don't you think?" I wasn't sure how to respond. She stirred her drink lazily, her eyes never leaving mine. Then she reached into her purse and pulled out something small and red. She placed it on the table between us. A red envelope. My stomach twisted. I don't know why, but the sight of it made me cold. "Open it," she said. I hesitated before picking it up. It wasn't sealed, just a simple, folded card inside. I pulled it out, my fingers suddenly clumsy, and when I saw what was inside, I felt the air leave my lungs. It was a photo of me, taken from inside my bedroom. Last night, I looked up at Claire, my breath catching in my throat. She smiled. "I've missed you," she whispered. My hands went numb. I wanted to say something, to ask her what the hell this was, but the words wouldn't come out. I just kept staring at the photo in my hands. My bedroom, the dim light from my nightstand, me, asleep. The angle of the shot was low, taken from the corner of the room, just beside my dresser. And that's what made my stomach twist, because there was nowhere to hide in that corner. If someone had taken this photo, they had been standing there the whole time. My breath hitched. Slowly, I looked up at Claire. She was still smiling, like she was waiting for me to figure something out. I finally forced my voice out, but it came out raw, hoarse. "What is this?" She leaned forward slightly, resting her chin on her hand. "You don't remember?" I swallowed hard. "Remember what?" Her smile widened, and that's when I saw it. Her lips weren't just parted in a grin. They were moving, muttering something, whispering something under her breath, something I couldn't hear. I gripped the edge of the table, trying to keep my hands from shaking. "Claire, what are you talking about?" She tilted her head, her eyes glinting under the candlelight. Then, slowly, she reached into her purse again and pulled out another photo. She slid it across the table. I almost didn't want to look, but I did. And when I saw what was inside, my whole body locked up. It was another photo of me, not asleep, awake, taken just seconds ago, sitting here, at this table, across from Claire. Except, in the photo, I was alone. I jerked back in my chair, my breath catching in my throat. I looked up at Claire. She was gone. The chair across from me was empty. No red envelope. No photos. No sign she had ever been there at all. The restaurant around me blurred, my heartbeat roaring in my ears. I looked around in wild panic, searching the tables, the booths, the bar. She was nowhere. The waitress passed by, glancing at me. "You okay, man?" I swallowed hard. The girl I was with, did you see where she went?" She frowned. "You've been sitting alone all night." My skin went cold. I stared at her, my entire body stiff with disbelief. "No, that's not possible. She was right here. She gave me this." I looked down at my hands. The photos were gone. The red envelope? Gone. Nothing but an empty table in front of me. I felt sick. I reached for my phone with trembling hands. Opened my texts. No messages. No calls. No proof that Claire ever existed. I suddenly couldn't breathe. I stood up so fast the chair nearly toppled over, fumbling in my pocket for my wallet. I threw way too much cash onto the table and stumbled outside, the cold air hitting my face like a slap. The street was mostly empty, a few couples walking by, laughing, oblivious. I grabbed my phone again, opened my contacts. Jason, the guy who had set us up. I called him, pressing the phone to my ear, my heartbeat slamming against my ribs. It rang once, twice, then, "Hey man, what's up?" "Jason," I gasped, still struggling to catch my breath. "Claire, who is she?" Silence, a beat too long. Then, "Who?" I blinked, my mouth going dry. "Claire, the girl you set me up with." More silence. Then, Jason laughed, but it sounded confused. "Dude, I have no idea what you're talking about." My blood ran cold. I stopped walking. "What?" I whispered. "I didn't set you up with anyone." A dull ringing filled my ears. "No," I murmured. "No, that's not Jason. We talked about this. You told me about her. You said you knew her from work." "Man, I haven't even been at work this week. I've been sick. I haven't talked to anyone." I felt my knees go weak. My vision swam. This wasn't real. It wasn't possible. And then, Jason sighed. "Hey, you good? You sound weird." I opened my mouth, but nothing came out. Because over the phone, through Jason's mic, I heard something. A whisper. Soft. Faint. From his end of the call. I've missed you. The same thing Claire had said to me. My stomach dropped. The phone nearly slipped from my hands. I couldn't breathe. Couldn't move. And then Jason said something that made my blood run cold. Dude, hold on a sec. There's a girl at my door. I froze. My grip on the phone tightened so hard my knuckles went white. A girl? I croaked. Jason let out a confused laugh. Yeah, hold on, she's knocking. Tap, tap, tap. The exact same way Claire had tapped on the envelope. My heart stopped. Jason, don't open it, I gasped. But I was too late. I heard the door creak open. A long pause. Then Jason's voice, confused, but slightly amused. Oh, hey, wait, have we met before? I staggered backward, shaking my head. I already knew what he was going to say next. I already knew what she was whispering to him. The same thing she had whispered to me. Do you believe in fate? The line went dead. Jason was never seen again. They found his front door wide open. His phone on the floor. No signs of forced entry. No struggle. No Claire. Just gone. I moved cities after that. Changed my number. Deleted every dating app. But I know it's not over. Because every Valentine's Day, at exactly midnight, I get a message. No caller ID. Just a photo. Of my bedroom. Taken from the corner of the room. A little closer than last time. A little clearer. Like whoever is taking them is getting bolder. Like they're waiting. And I know that one day, I'll wake up, and there won't be a photo. There will just be a whisper. Right beside my ear. I've missed you. Waiting.